Today I'm going to make one of my favorite breakfast or brunch meals, fruit-filled crepes. Now, before we get started, let's talk about how we pronounce the word crepe. I say crepe. My granddaughter, however, says
Crepes.
She loves to correct me. I just want to go on the record and say that both are accurate. Okay, so the ingredients we need are eggs, some butter, a little bit of sugar, flour, a pinch of salt, and some milk. We're going to start with the eggs and beat those. Now, the one thing with this batter is very similar to pancakes. It's just a much thinner batter than pancakes or waffles would be. But you want it very thin and there to be absolutely no lumps. And if you've ever noticed, even box mixes of pancakes, they'll say that it's okay if some lumps remain. In the case of these crepes, I want there to be no lumps, so I always use my immersion blender. I first beat the eggs with my immersion blender and then add all the other ingredients and use the immersion blender again to get these nice and smooth and ready to go. This is what you want, is a nice pourable batter. It's very thin, much thinner than pancake batter, and that's what's going to make the super thin pancake that we know as a crepe or crepe. So I like to use a little butter or grease in my pan, even in a non-stick pan. It just kind of ensures that you're going to be able to get that little pancake out of there and flip it around. And then depending upon the size of your pan, I like to use a measuring cup actually to make sure I have consistently the same amount of batter each time. I recommend about 1/4 of a cup for an 8-inch pan. This pan's a little bit bigger than that, so I'm using 1/3 of a cup, and most of the time I'll slightly underfill it. But just pour your batter around, tilt the pan to make sure that it's all evenly distributed. And if there's any open spots, that helps to kind of fill in those open spots with the batter. And then you let it cook for about 1 to 2 minutes. Now this is assuming we have medium heat and that everything's kind of average. And as I'm sure you realize, every stovetop is different, every pan's a little different, so don't be surprised if you end up throwing away your first crepe, because you might need a practice 1 or 2 just to get the hang of this. But this is what I do. I like the edges to start to turn just a little bit golden brown, and then I feel like it's ready to flip, and this one is looking beautiful. And so then you take that one out, remove that, and then just do the same thing with another portion of batter. Usually while this second one is cooking, I will start rolling that first one up with some fruit and then get them all lined up. Today I made some fruit sauce, a very easy little fruit sauce made out of frozen fruit and some jam actually, and I think I'll link to that recipe down in the description. But the easiest thing in the whole world is just to sprinkle this with a little bit of powdered sugar, and if you're feeling a little bit of extra, add some whipped cream and away you go. But here's the really important part. This recipe makes a good 10 to 12 crepes, and most of the time I'm just feeding myself and one other person. So that means there's a lot of extra batter, and what I figured out a long time ago is you can just save that batter and use it again the next day. So I am just pouring this into an old jar. I think this is a jar for ice cream topping or something. Just cover it with the lid and stick it in the fridge and then pull it out tomorrow. I don't think I've ever done it more than 2 days out to use it. Then the next day I'd pull it out of the fridge, give it a good shake, make sure it'll settle a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit. So give it a good shake to make sure it's all nice and evenly distributed, and you have your batter all set to go to make some more. So, same process. Add your batter to the pan, swirl it around a little bit to make sure it's nice and evenly distributed, and give it a minute or 2 to start to brown. Flip it over and have your fresh fruit ready to roll into this nice little pancake. You can see I like to roll it up like this. Also, one thing, when I have found when you make crepes like this, they tend to be kind of really wet or sweaty or something. So I like to put down a paper towel when I first take the crepe out of the pan, add my fruit, just kind of line it all up. Today I have some banana slices, some raspberries, and some strawberries. Unfortunately, I used up all the blueberries yesterday, but that's okay because this is still delicious. Then I roll this all up and slide that paper towel out from underneath, and it's ready to go. For this plate, I'm going to actually make a third, do the same process. Again, add blueberries, no, I'm sorry, not blueberries, add bananas, raspberries, and strawberries. I keep thinking blueberries because it's usually what I put in all of my crepes, but darn it, I ran out. Anyway, add your fruit, roll this up, and then again, I still had some of that berry sauce, and I can add that to my crepes, and like I say, have a fantastic breakfast 2 days in a row, which honestly no one in my house has ever given me pushback on. This is a delightful way to make a breakfast that seems kind of fancy, but that's actually a lot simpler than you think. I hope you give this a try, because if you do, I know you'll love it. Enjoy.